We are here for another episode of Conversations with the Media Prince, where we talk to dynamic guests who are pillars in our community. And just like any other episode, I have someone dynamic here. And this guy, man, a cultivator, a shift pusher, a change maker, a taste maker, not only helps preserve the city, but has saved the city on multiple occasions. This guy does so much for the youth, for us today, for us in the future. He's always making a way for the DC area to reach new heights. We're currently in one of his newest babies, the Go-Go Museum and Cafe, and I'm just excited I get to interview this brother who has helped shape this culture that I get to live and breathe in. The one, the only, Ronald Moten. How are you, brother?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. Just being someone who grew up in the city, you are just such a staple and such an icon here. Like for the little kids that grew up here, like knowing Ron Moten means you're doing something well. That means you have made it to some pinnacle in your career. Before we dive into that, how does that feel though to know that you have been able to not only touch so many people, inspire us, but you have added to our stories?
Well, it feels good. Basically, I stand on the shoulders of some people who came before me, who breathed into me and gave me the opportunities that I have. So I feel like it's only right for me to do the same for the generations that come behind me. And I feel blessed in some ways, even though sometimes it's overbearing, but to be a vehicle and a vessel to drive the culture, but also take things that my ancestors installed into me and others and give it to the next generation so that we can fight through things that we shouldn't have to, but with resistance and determination, we can be even greater than those before us.
Yes, I love that. So we see what you have done for the city now and what you have helped shape for our culture. But let's take it all the way back to your DC. Mm-hmm. What was that world like for you? And then when did that creative eye of just like music and just like that flair of creativity start for you?
Yeah, well, I grew up in DC, started off in Saratoga as a young man. Me and guys like Tony Bullock grew up together. And at 6 years old, moved uptown, where I spent half of my life and grew up at. But that uptown is not the uptown I know anymore. And I saw that become gentrified. I went to prison, came home October 1994, and got with a group called Ceasefire Don't Smoke, the Brothers and Sisters. And that was my first indoctrination and opportunity that I had to use my skill set and my strengths the right way to uplift the humanity and my people. And from that, shortly after returning home, the control board came in after Murray and Berry had won. Mm. And that's when they took the music and the trades out of DC public schools. Mm. So that's when I first got infused into fighting and saving our music and culture, because at Ceasefire Don't Smoke the Brothers, that was the only place young people can go and play go-go. Mm. So we were the only place in the city because everything had been shut down for young people. And we did it, even though the founder Ceasefire was like, oh, we can't do that until we get permission. We did it anyway, and a lot of the young people in Go-Go, you talk to them like Trey from UCB, Mikey, Young Legends, and all those bands back then, they'll tell you that we were something to help save and preserve the history. So that's when I first started my nonviolence work, and I started doing my work with music and culture, preserving it, fighting against the control board who took the music and trades out of our schools.
And I wanted to ask you this too, because as we see, like, there's always going to be either a constant fight or a new fight. What keeps you still going, especially when you win a battle and then here comes another one?
I think you got to be selfish to yourself, because a lot of times people don't appreciate what you do. So it's a lot of times it's just from the heart. And a lot of times, success has enemies. And then a lot of times your oppressors will use your own people to try to tear you down, or your own people, because they don't know what love is. They don't know how to take it. So sometimes you would think that our leaders are put on a pedestal, but a lot of times in our community, we look for the opportunity to tear our leaders down, or people use our own people against the leaders. So it's not always as good as it seems, you know what I'm saying? But the gratification when you see those young people go to college, when you see those musicians do well and create like what we see coming down with Pocket 3 and the young go-go bands or the Experience Band and other people come, or people like Big G who turned his life around and really like right now is carrying the flag for go-go, if you ask me. Or the women, you know, a lot of the young women like Jata and other women coming into go-go. To see all this, it makes me feel good because I know if I leave today, it's not going to be gone. It was one point where go-go was about to be gone, all right? Because of the criminalization of go-go, because they took it out of our schools. They took it, shut down all to this day, there's nowhere where young people can go to a matinee go-go like we had. But they're worried about the young people in the streets. So you think they're not going to be children? Y'all took away all the places in the DMV for young people to have a matinee go-go or just a party, period. And you think that they just going to stay in the house. Right. So you had a chance to have a structured venues throughout the DMV where they can go, right, and incentivize it. But now they get incentivized for being fools. So it's cool to be a fool versus a child being cool to get attention doing the right things. So these are the type of things that I fight for and try to teach people who make decisions that affect us all of what they need to do.
I love that. I love that. And in that, what are you learning about yourself as you continue with your tenure?
Well, you know, I learned, you know, you got to listen more, but just don't give up, man. I know that, one, you can't get something for nothing. I know nothing worth having comes easy. And I know that out of all my experiences, you got to worry about yourself a little more. Because you can dump all your energy into others, but it got to be balanced. At some point, you got to worry about yourself, because no matter what you do, some people will have something to say. Then you look up like, what the hell did I do for myself? I'm 55 years old now. All the money I've gotten gone into somebody else or something else, but somebody will think you got millions. But sometimes I look back and say, why didn't I take care of myself better? Because some people don't appreciate what you do anyway. So I tell people who get into the business of helping people and helping their community, just make sure you have balance. Make sure you help others. That's what, you know, Muhammad Ali said it best. Charity, you know, is your rent you pay while here on earth.
Right.
But charity also starts at home.
Right.
So you have to have a balance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's hard because a lot of times when you start doing this work, you get indoctrinated and like you have a passion for just helping people.
Right.
You answer every call, everything, and a lot of times you throwing out front as the warrior, but there's always bullets that come with being out front. And then when you get wounded, just know a lot of people ain't gonna be there to help your wounds. So you got to understand all this when you get into this type of work, but also understand to who much is given. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
much is
received.
Right.
Required too.
Yeah,
but I'm glad you're saying that, because there are a lot of people that are following in your footsteps and probably feel the pressure of always having to be on and working, and probably feel guilty for giving themselves time. But I think that you're giving them reassurance that they can actually be a little selfish at times and refuel yourself, because you can't be a vessel if you're not, you know,
if you're wounded, if you got holes in your ship.
Right.
Or too many holes in your ship. We all gonna have holes in that ship. None of us perfect. I would just, you know, I would say this, that a lot of people come in our community and they try to make you think that there's something wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with making yourself valuable and worthy and getting paid for what you do well. All right? And a lot of people who try to make you think that way are the ones raping your community. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that you have a value and you work hard to be great. And when you work hard to be great, you should be rewarded for it.
Okay.
All right? But at the same token, nobody's getting somewhere without the help of others. Facts. So you always return and give back to your community, even if you make it. That's where the problem comes in. A lot of people make it in our community and they never come and get back. Other people always get back to their communities. And we got to do a better job of doing that. We right here in Anacostia, historic Anacostia, but most people don't even know the history of Anacostia.
Right.
You know, 1862, our enslaved brothers and sisters, ancestors walked across that bridge right there, 11th Street Bridge. It was called Freedom's Crossing. They walked across that bridge into freedom in 1862. All right. Frederick Douglass used to walk from his house up the street across that bridge every day to go to work. He would walk across that bridge to go meet Abraham Lincoln to advocate for black people. across that bridge. This area is named after the Nacostan Anacostan Indians who resided here. All right? And if our young people knew the history, if they knew how powerful they were, they would think more about before they throw a piece of trash on the ground, before they kill their brothers and sisters, because they would know that they stand for something. Most people don't know. You know, when they come in this museum, I teach more than about the music. I teach about the activism of music. Most people don't know that music, the drum, and the voice are the first two forms of communication known to mankind and have always been used in the resistance. Whether you're in Colombia, whether you're in Cuba, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in DC, whether you're at Woodstock, it doesn't matter. It's always been used. And that's why our music has been infused with poison. And that's why go-go is so important, because right now in DC, if you come with some poison, where you gonna play at?
Right.
We still control our culture. Whereas though hip-hop, our cousin, they've been colonized, and now people are injecting it with poison, like use Percocets, kill your brother, shoot your sister, right? In order to destroy us, versus what it's always been used for. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose. So even when they were talking about things that were going on, it was still to uplift and talk about how we're gonna survive this, not about how we're gonna destroy each other because I'm mad or because I'm going through something. F or N, because I'm going through something. I'm gonna go kill my brother or sister. I'm gonna go pop a perk. We didn't talk about that. But for some reason, the youngest in our community, right, they call them young N's, I call them young K's, young kings and queens. They only get incentivized when they go and create some poison. That's when they get money. That's not by accident. And that's why it's important to protect this music, this culture, because they don't tear down the real shit. This is real.
Got you. Yes, I agree. How are you feeling? Are you feeling satisfied with how the music, the go-go music scene is now being looked at now with your new fight with preserving it?
I mean, when we opened the doors, it was a relief, but we're not finished yet. We still raising money to get our kitchen out back, and we're like, this is just the beginning. Like in 5 years, our goal is to go up 4 levels, create artist housing. We own all 3 buildings right here. Hey. So artist housing, bring the businesses back, and then we have some for starving artists and levels of stuff for musicians. So this is just the beginning. You feel what I'm saying?
I love how too here there is, you come here with a perception of just learning the fundamentals, but you actually learn so much more than that here. Like there is a connection where you get to see that gap between like our history and what we see as the plan today, which I don't think we always get to connect those dots. So you've created another infrastructure here that will continue on for people to learn more.
And it's even a bigger story than go-go. Like most people got to remember, this started with Checker Enterprises, who owns the buildings. Former gang members own these buildings with me, who changed their life around. So a social enterprise that started, nobody knew was going to end up being this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Star and E-Ball stuck with it. We own the buildings, and we're building something. But that story was some marginalized children, gay children, who used to be 200 deep down gallery place, called me for help. And we came and asked somebody for help who was renting these buildings. It was a real estate company. This basement was a raggedy basement that we practiced in and made clothes in, you know, for our fashion shows. And then it went from that to becoming a community incubator, to the landlord saying I'm selling the buildings, to us getting the money to buy the buildings. You feel what I'm saying? To Steve Buscemi, the actor, doing a documentary on it, and we're going around the whole world telling the story about a group of marginalized young children in DC who became a social enterprise and did something magnificent, not just for LGBT, but they did it for the LGBT, the returning citizens, for the seniors, everybody, right? And we still do it today, even though this is a museum.
The nationally known Dope Mute DC.
Yes.
Walk us through that.
Yeah.
Of course, we know it all stemmed from them trying to take go-go music off the streets at the T-Mobile store on 7th Street. But what you were able to do created such a it went to mainstream media. Like there were people hitting me from that never even heard of DC, but heard of it because of the blueprint and what you guys were creating with WDC. So walk us through that.
So there's a couple of things I would like to say about that. I always tell people, especially young people who protesting, activists, like first of all, know what you're protesting about, know your purpose, the outcomes you want, and how you're going to get there. Other than that, you can get lost in the sauce, you can get used up, etc. So we knew what we wanted. My friend Don Campbell had called me because maybe 10 years before the Don't Mute DC movement, he had a club called 1919 on 9th Street, and gentrifiers were doing the same thing then. And he called me and I helped him with that, right? So this time he called me and was like, Mo, they trying to put me out of business. These people across the street at the Shade, they saying my music's too loud. I've been here for 25 years. Man, I need your help. So I came, and me and Natalie was already meeting because you had places at the Marineburgs and other places where they were doing the same thing to black businesses, whether it was a reggae shop on Rhode Island Avenue that was playing reggae music where people come by their food, or whether it was the place that was on the Marineburgs that was playing R&B music and sometimes go-go. So we were pissed off already. So when this came, I was like, we got to do something now. So we decided to do a petition. So we did a petition, and me and her created a petition. Me, her, and then Tone P and Tony Lewis. I called Tony Lewis, and Tone P was talking to Don. So we got together, and we pushed that joint out, right? Me and Natalie clicked the button, pushed it out. It went viral. And within 2 days, the music came back on. Then the protests and stuff started in the street. Now, I would say this. The hashtag Don't Mute DC was created by a young sister that went to Howard University by the name of Julian Bloomfield. And I'm saying that to say, because a lot of times, like, good things come from the people who are not even from where you live at. So that's why I say you always got to work with good people no matter where they come from. We took that hashtag and created the Don't Mute DC movement. All right, so, and then after the music got cut back on, we had the press conference. Yachty and them did the infamous Mochella rallies in the street, which were important too because it showed people we still here. We still here, motherfucker. We here, right? We still 47% of the population, right? And it matters, and we got power if we use it, right? So that was like the first victory that black people had in I'd say decades, but they felt empowered. And then Don't Mute DC kept doing protests. Like most people don't know, we did a protest with music outside of within the United Medical Center when they were about to stop the funding, and we would have lost the only hospital east of the river right before COVID hit for 160,000 people.
Dang.
All right? People don't know that. All right? We stopped that from happening right before COVID. You know how many people that died of breathing at the hospital there?
Sounds like a lot, man.
Right?
Thousands.
Okay. We fought to have DC becomes DC's go-go become DC's official music. We fought for policy of equity for people, black people, to get like the arts. We fought with Carl Masters Buried, with the Commission on Arts and Humanities, when 38 million, the majority was going to big white nonprofits who were raising millions of dollars, and got it like going to some black people too. Like these are the things that we kept fighting.
Why do you think it took so long though for go-go music to officially become the official music of DC?
Because everything's in God's time. We can't predict when the spark that's going to happen to change things. That whole spark with the Don't Mute DC movement changed a lot. It was a lot of policy that got passed during it. Because, well, let me explain something to you. In this city, yeah, a lot of people claim to be progressive until it's time for equity. Give you a prime example. I'm on a panel in a couple of days about what is progressive. And I don't know how you call yourself progressive if in a city where we say we want to protect the environment and all this other stuff, and black people who 47% of the population only get 4% of the contracts that deal with their green money in DC. How are we progressive? I don't know how you call yourself progressive if only 8% or 7% of 38 million that was going to the arts is going to people in Ward 8. So I'm just saying, like, there are a lot of things that, are you really progressive, or are you somebody who used the term progressive to benefit you, right? But you want to make other people feel like you're helping them. So some people who are progressive are regressive. Right?
Right.
So you're extremists over here, just like we got extremists on the other side.
Right.
And we never come together with our commonalities and go somewhere in the middle and attach equity and sustainability for black people.
You want to help everyone out, but you got to also be smart with who you help out, because some people don't want to be helped out. So don't waste your time.
You got some people ain't ready.
Some people are not ready, and if they're not ready, that's okay.
Sometimes
they'll find you when they are.
Well, sometimes I tell people you got to plant the seed and move on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you plant the seed, they don't get it today. They might have to go sit down somewhere for a minute and say, you know what, he told me this, or whatever. Sometimes people get it right away. So you ain't God. You don't know when people are. I'm still learning. Like I tell people all the time, like when you know everything, you're walking dead. You might as well go ahead and bury your head in the ground. But if you're still learning, you know, it's good for you, it's good for humanity, it's good for everybody. So every day we should wake up learning. Exactly. Every day we should wake up listening to positive vibes, positive music, positive reading, positive people.
I'm glad you're saying that too, because we were speaking about earlier when you were talking about that balance and everything. What does Ronald Moten do to center himself when he gets to, like, how do you self-care? What's your self-care routine look like? Well,
I tell you this, I'm just learning how to take care of myself, because I always spend all my energy always helping other people. And I like to travel though. I don't like fancy cars, all this. I just like to travel, get away, re-energize, recharge, come back, take another stab at it. That's what I like to do. Learning how to relax a little more. I like to write. I've written 2 books.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm learning to love myself a little more, you know? And that's what it's all about. Love my children. I got a 5-year-old son who he's everything. Keep me energized. I got a daughter that's going to college this year, a son that's going to college next year. They both live with me. So I balance all that as a single dad with all the stuff I'm doing here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And all the other stuff I get called to do. But I feel like God has blessed me to be here. A lot of people who I grew up with in the streets didn't make it. Or they got 30, 40 year sentences. But my brother got killed one day after I got locked up. One of my best friends got killed 6 months after I got locked up.
Wow.
And if I was on the street, I probably would have been gone too, because I probably would have been with one of them. And I feel like, you know, life, sometimes you have a purpose. And when God reveals to you that you have a purpose, you got an option. Either take that purpose or go back and take the devil's purpose, right? So I'm not taking the devil's purpose. I'm taking what God's given me, you know, and the road he set for me, even though sometimes it's hard and there's a lot. But I feel privileged to be in a position to do what I do.
How often do you reflect?
All the time. I reflect on things I wish I could have dealt with differently. I reflect on my mistakes. I reflect on the things I've done brilliantly, like the great things I've done. Because, you know, a lot of times people tell me, they sit me down and like, but do you understand what you just did? And, you know, the most painful thing for people like me is you make things look so easy that people don't appreciate it. Sometimes you can do shit that's undoable, like miracle type shit, and people just think it's easy because you make it look easy, but they never get to see all the behind the scenes stuff that it takes to make it happen. And sometimes that shit is brutal because people walk in and just think that sometimes they supposed to have access to you or whatever while you doing all this stuff, or you supposed to just give all this away and you ain't even got nothing out of it yourself, right? You ain't even help, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they just sometimes take for granted what you've done because you make it look too fucking easy. You know what I'm saying? And that right there can be painful because if people don't understand or appreciate what you've done, then you know how they come off sometimes.
Yeah.
You know
so
what I'm saying?
how are you learning to turn that noise off?
Well, I don't give a fuck what people say about me. That's how.
Hey.
I really don't. Like, people said all type of shit. I don't give a fuck. The shit I've been through in my life, like, are you serious? So I don't give a fuck. All I care about is making sure that I have a moral compass.
I love that.
So as long as I'm living with a moral compass,
yeah,
people gonna always have something to say.
When did you get to that? Because some people are still, though it's easier said than done, it's really hard to not give a fuck. How did you get to
Man,
that
at one point I was attacked by the whole DC government. You know, that was like 2010. They sicked everything on me. So I've been blessed to go through some turbulent times in my life. So some of this stuff is second nature to me, but some people come with that. I'm like, this part of the process. You know, success has enemies. Yeah. And so that's how I deal with that.
Okay.
But sometimes it can be overwhelming, but that's why you have sponges around you. You have a few sponges, not a lot, because you tell somebody your business and it go all over the world. But you have a few reliable sponges that can absorb your pain.
Right.
So that you ain't gotta go say nothing crazy on the social media or something like that. You let them absorb your pain, right?
Right.
And then that way you don't go and just jump out there and do something that you know you shouldn't do.
Yes.
You know
I hope y'all are taking notes, because my man is spitting them gems, okay? So of all the things that you've done, if you could rank your top 3 most proud moments, what would they be?
Well, I got to go back first to the Million Man March. So when I came home from prison, one of the reasons that I am successful in the things that I do is as we approach the 30 years of the Million Man March, I was a spokesperson for one of the spokespersons for Ceasefire Don't Smoke the Brothers, and I went around as a youth spokesperson for the Million Man March. Wow. So I spoke at Howard University with Farrakhan when he was going around. I met with people like Kwame Ture and had lunch with him. I met with people like Winnie Mandela when I was with Ceasefire. We used to walk in Marion Barry's office without having to have an appointment. That's how I've always been. When I was on the streets, I was the same way. That's how I operated. When I was in prison, I never ate off of the regular food. I've always been one of those type of guys. All right? So, you know, experiencing the Million Man March.
What was that like? Because I don't have too many people
with the Million Man March
that went to this. So this is my first getting the experience of what it was like.
What, the talking about the
Million Man March?
Oh yeah, so I'm about to get you. Everybody said it wasn't going to happen. It was impossible to get Muslims, Christians, like black Jews, like everybody together to work with Farrakhan. Everybody, no, he's a racist. He this, he that. We ain't gonna work with him. But everybody came together for one commonality goal for black people, right? And I never forget being there that morning, and it was supposed to rain. It was cloudy outside. I was there early because Ceasefire Don't Smoke the Brothers, we were selling T-shirts on the mall that day.
Okay.
So we were there setting up.
Okay.
And the libation happened. So they did a libation and the drums started playing, right? It's about 6 in the morning, and then the sky opened up. Wow. So when I saw that, and then later that day I saw more than 2 million men come, can't nobody tell me what can't happen. I saw it firsthand from the beginning when it was being organized, going to the meetings and all that. I was exposed to that as a young man. That's why exposure is everything for our young people. Take them places, give them experiences, and take them in rooms. That's the you can't pay for that.
Facts.
Like nobody can pay for those experiences I had, right? And that's those things right there that was embedded in me, along with the things that my family, my parents, my grandparents gave me, and my bloodline is with people like Malcolm X being my cousin, Aunt Virginia, who was a legend in Ward 7 activist, like people that in my bloodline. Like those are the things that prepare you, like for what we're talking about, and you knowing, like these buildings. I knew about the opportunity to get these buildings when people told me I was crazy, because when I was at C5, Marion Barry gave us the building when we were up there. And now that's the only building owned by a black person on 14th and Crittenden Street. But they were all black businesses when I grew up. So I knew when people in government telling me that they can't do something, I know they can do it because I saw it over 20-some years ago. And these are the things that you can't, like people don't know from reading a book. They come from experiences.
Facts.
They come from being behind the scenes and seeing things firsthand. And that's why I'm saying when I tell young people to listen to people who've been through some shit. Listen to people who've been in them doors and been in them rooms, not people who learn everything off of social media. Because half that shit ain't true. It's an illusion.
You just brought up social media. I did want to get your opinion. How is it added to your movement? I know it could be a little bit overwhelming because it's like social media is so broad with so many different things, but how is it added to you?
I love and I hate social media. What I hate about social media, you can have some of the dumbest people on the internet and people listen to them. I mean, people who brain ain't, it's like this a brick. Nothing in it, nothing. And you got people that really listen to fools.
Yeah.
Right? So that's painful when I see people listen to people like this, who I know are empty vessels.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
And our young people watching that stuff, man. But on the flip side, the internet, like, you can actually do a movement from the internet. You can actually connect with your brothers and sisters throughout the world from the internet, and we couldn't do that before. So it has pros and cons. You can learn from the internet, you know. There's a lot of things you can do. So it's like, it's a love-hate relationship.
So let's just see, when Ronald Moten's name goes in the history books, what do you want it to say?
He was about the people. He wasn't perfect, but he wasn't unperfect. No, he was about the people. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he was about the people, and he found a way. You know, I always, no matter what I've done, whether it was Pieceaholics, whether it was Check It, whether it's Don't Mute DC, whether it's the Go-Go Museum, you know what I'm saying? Always found a way. I always had the courage to try. Black women have always had my back. I mean, I've had some strong soldiers, brothers, but black women have always had Ronald Moten's back. Now, we don't always agree, and I've had some of them do some crazy shit to me, but they've always had Ronald Moten's back, right? When nobody else didn't. So I tell people, always have some strong women around you.
Hey.
Because they're going to make sure you're all right when nobody else do. I mean, you got to have our brothers, we got to have our brotherhood too.
Facts.
But don't forget about them sisters, brother, because when you got a good sister that believe in you, ain't nothing like her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, don't, that's one of the lessons I always tell people. Going back to my grandmother, who always had my back, no matter what I did, she would correct me. I remember the ass whoopers and everything, but she always loved me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yes, and get you the right black woman behind you.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you got to watch out. You might get a bad one behind you. She fuck up everything.
No sexy reds. No sexy reds.
So we are in the Go-Go Museum and Cafe. This is quite dynamic. I think the last time I was here, was the virtual Go-Go Awards.
Right.
Now that we have this here, what's next for you, and what's for your future now?
Well, I'm not finished with this. So now we connecting the Afro-modernity. We connecting with the whole world and our culture throughout the whole world. We're going to be doing albums and music, producing music. We're going to be training young people how about the creative economy. You know, I've done a lot of work with the Kennedy Center, with the Smithsonian, but when you go in them back rooms, ain't nobody look like us.
Right.
So we got to start training our young people for those lucrative jobs. So that's one of the things I want to do now, prepare young people for the creative economy, to teach young people how to survive and have multiple streams of income. And that's what these fields do. Like these cameras here today, if you don't know how to work a camera, whether it's filming or photography, I know people making 6 figures doing that, right? And that's something that a lot of our young people love. So we got to teach them, though. And we got to teach them how to have discipline, a moral compass, good ethics. Like, a lot of people just think 'cause they talented and they don't have no class, no moral compasses, no discipline. And all that works hand in hand.
All of it.
Because guess what? Word of mouth is real. And once people go around talking about you mess something up, you this, you that, it's hard to come back from that.
It's very hard to come back from this.
So, that's what I've always, done. And I tell people the spirit is real. Throughout the hard times of my life, I talked about women, but I also talk about people like Reverend Willie Wilson, who helped me at one of my lowest points of my life. Reverend Tony Lee, same thing, is there for me. So spiritual people also were there with me. And also Natalie Hawkinson, who curated the museum with me. She's the chief curator of the museum, but she also was a woman at the Washington Post at the time who gave me the opportunity to do one of my first 15 op-eds that I wrote for the Washington Post and the Washington Times and places like that before I did my first book. People like that gave me opportunities. So, and that's just come from having conversations with people. Mo, I think you need to write an op-ed. You got a lot of insight. So it's things like that.
I've gained even more respect and admiration for your fight, and thank you.
Thank you.
Because you are helping other people like myself continue to go in our fields. And I think we would be a little more doomed if you didn't exist.
Well, I say this: there are a lot of good people out there, and sometimes they don't get a chance to tell their story.
Yeah.
So I speak for them and me, and there wouldn't be no me without them.
Hey.
And we just got to start just working together as a people. Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Yes.
Now is the time for real. Where I played my famous either or game with the one and only Ronald Moten. I wonder how's he gonna do. Y'all think he gonna do good? We can see, okay? So I'm gonna give you some legends. I'm gonna throw a little go-go and some hip-hop in there. The person you say stays. The person you don't say
Okay.
never existed.
Okay.
And you only get 3 Moten passes.
Okay, hold on.
You think you could do this?
Hey, can you go open the door for her upstairs for me? Yeah, thank you. Tell her I'm wrapping up now. Okay.
Now I'm gonna give you 3 Moten passes.
Okay.
That means you can only skip 3. Are you ready for the challenge? All right. Tupac or Biggie? The person you say stays. The person you don't say never existed.
I take Tupac.
Okay, Tupac stays. Okay. Jay-Z or Nas?
Damn, that's a hard one. I take Jay-Z,
Okay, Jay-Z stays. Eminem or J. Cole?
J. Cole.
Okay. Kanye West or Lil Wayne?
Damn. I can't answer that one.
All right, so we got 1 pass. Chuck Brown or Sugar Bear?
I gotta take Chuck.
Okay, Chuck stays. Let's do Drake or Kendrick Lamar.
Of course I'm taking Kendrick.
Okay. 2 Chainz or Future.
2 Chainz.
Okay. T.I. or Ludacris.
T.I.
All right. Common or Andre 3000.
Damn. You gotta flip a coin on that one, but I'll probably say Common.
Okay, Common
Yeah.
stays. Okay. Let's do one more for the fellas. Backyard Band or Junkyard Band.
I ain't answering that one. I just say I gotta go with the yard. I gotta go with the yard. Look, I'm gonna tell you this. Uptown made me, Southside saved me.
Okay.
So that's the answer to that one.
Okay. So he's used 2 passes. All right, let's go to the ladies. Nicki Minaj or Remy Ma.
Nicki Minaj.
Okay. Little Kim or Trina.
Lil' Kim.
Okay. Eve or Foxy Brown.
Eve.
Okay. La Bella Donna or Maisha and the Hip Huggers.
Maisha.
Okay. That was easy. That was an easy one for you. Okay. Missy Elliott or Left Eye.
Missy.
Okay, we're gonna do one more. Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion.
Cardi B.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this was the one, the only Ronald Moten, and he used his 2 passes and did good. I'm very proud of the game. A lot of people get stuck,
Right.
and have to use all their passes. So you did your freaking thing. Where can people follow you and find you at and join all of your movements?
You can go to the Go-Go Museum and Cafe.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Ronald Moten, Instagram at the Go-Go Museum, or you can email me at the GoGoMuseumCafe.com.
Hey.
GoGoMuseumCafe.com.
And when I tell you this is a place you have to come check out and you have the experience, especially if you really want to learn about the culture beyond of just knowing or going to a go-go, actually learning the history behind it, magical. Trust me, 10 out of 10. But this was another episode of Conversations with the Media Prince, the one, the only Ronald Moten, shot by MLB. And until next time, we are out.